Chappie be the rudest bad boy in Joburg, Streetwise professor, fuck mother.
Right, you the rudest bad boy in Joburg.
Chappie be the rudest bad boy, Streetwise professor in Joburg, fuck mother.
Yes.
When Neil first pitched the story, the artificial intelligence side of things was really interesting to me, but what really struck a chord with me personally was the fairy tale wonder of the entire story.
It combines a lot of different genres. The movie is really about an artificial intelligence robot that sort of comes to life, and you're watching the battle for that robot's soul in some ways, between a criminal side and a more intellectual side. By the end of the movie, it sort of grows up into integrating all of these different sides into one organic whole.
Chappie, say shoo.
Shoo.
Say rat.
Rat.
Chappie is the world's first sentient robot, and he comes into the world very much like a baby would. So it was quite an interesting challenge finding a sort of childlike archetype to work on, mixing that with, what we would call the Cape Flats gangster, and then making him, with an IQ of like 350.
At the center of this movie, I'm sure a lot of people will talk about the visual effects that made Chappie possible. But I think the thing that will bring Chappie to life is Sharlto's performance. And everything takes its cues from Sharlto. The way the robot's eyes move, or its ears move, and certainly how its body moves, is all dictated by Sharlto's performance.
For me, Chappie has always been Sharlto, and I was really afraid at first that you would lose that. And when the shots started coming in with Chappie as a robot, it was still Sharlto. They kept everything Sharlto did and then added things that just mirrored what he was already putting across.
One of the reasons I wanted to do this was to work with him. He makes unpredictable choices. He's always got a sense of danger about him. There's always a sense of fun. Even if he's playing a villain, it's alive. And I love to watch him on screen. To act with him is a joy because he loves to rehearse, he loves to talk things through, he loves to get blood out of a stone. He wants every scene at the end that you've wrung everything possible out of that scene. And that's what I love about him. He's wearing the full grey suit and he's wearing a pair of shorts with a belt on. I said, dude, what's with shorts? And he said, the problem for me is as Chappie, he grows up into being a gangster and is taught the walk and everything. And when you're wearing a full skin-tight lycra suit, it makes you feel like an athlete, and everything about the gangsters all different. They've got their jeans hanging around the bottom of their ass and they're just sort of walking around. It's all their sort of movements and it's loose, and he said, I just feeling is costume and shoes are all really important.
What I did with those pants, and you can see it in some of the scenes, is as soon as I get my pants down, at that point, then everything with a gangster comes from here. Watch, you miss it, you lose. Ne? I sit here like this. So that was my trick, basically my magic, the thing that I needed to transform, to go from grey suit man into gangster Chappie. The only thing I needed, my bro, the only thing was a belt and a pants that I could drop to this height. And then I also was able to add some bling rings every now and then, which sort of helped me. And occasionally I would wear the actual bling that you see Chappie wearing in the film around his neck.
He's made this character so adorable you can't help but melt, so acting opposite him has just been so easy.
I'm Dion, remember?
Dion.
Yeah, I made you.
I've worked on a lot of special effects films, and I've never been in a situation where the person who's going to be transformed into a visual effect completely is actually just acting. Yes, they're wearing a grey suit, but having someone like Sharlto there is so genius. And I think the design of the actual scout robot, the fact that it's about the same height as him, means he doesn't wear stilts, he doesn't have to hold a stick with a tennis ball on top, it feels very real.
Very early on, Sharlto as Chappie was coming up with ideas and concepts to make sure that what he had created as Chappie would be transposed as the actual animated character.
This was quite an interesting performance for me, movement-wise. It was something that I had to be very, very aware of. Every single mannerism, everything that he was doing, because a lot of the essence of Chappie as the animated robot was obviously going to be how he moves, how he looks, just his little reactions.
He was always very interested in, what could he do best, not just for being on camera, but what could he do best to help best inform the animators that were going to later be taking over his performance? There was a lot of focus spent looking at how Charles moved and mimicking everything we could, and then just layering on top of that. He did a fantastic job using body language, gross body language, to help convey that age.
I think a lot of it was in the pauses. Children will stop and think while they're kind of doing things. He stumbled around, he kind of tripped, he made mistakes, everything wasn't perfect.
The chest plate and the other practical suit that Charlton wore really helps give the actor an idea of what his range of motion is, if he can move, how far he can move things, or how he can fold his arms or do other things.
It was also important because any of the interaction with any of the other actors, having them go and touch Charlton when he's wearing the skin-tight suit versus having this apparatus on him, allowed the interactions to be much more accurate.
We start out making him look like where he comes from. He's a police droid, but then over time he gets these mannerisms, and he gets bling, and he gets spray paint and graffiti, and he gets all of that added to him.
Chappie goes through so many stages of development in the film. We've broken it down into cores and panels. So there's 3 Chappie skeletons, and then there's 8 sets of panels representing each stage. So the complication with that is that everything that we do in these moments where we're shooting the physical dummy, the physical Chappie, relates back to the VFX character and the continuity that they have to follow.
Chappie as a robot wasn't designed to be a walking, talking, sentient being. He was designed to be a police scout, a robot that was there to maintain peace and discipline within the city. So a lot of his design features aren't specifically related to how he would emote.
To be honest, when I first saw some of the designs of Chappie, that was one of my biggest concerns, was how are we going to pull off the emotions that this character is going to have to do throughout the movie.
You want to maintain the design, you don't want to overdress it with things. So the ears, and yeah, they look mostly like ears, but they're very articulate, and you know, when you look at like a pet or something, the ears can tell a lot.
Then we had 2 face bars, one on the upper brow and one on the bottom brow. And then I guess the third thing was just actual head orientation. You know, he could cock his head slightly or twitch it. And then in a couple of very limited cases, we actually adjusted the icons on his eyes as well, just for sort of comedic or really driving something home in a shot.
It's Chappie in life. Lots of people will try to tell you what you can't do. And you know what? You must never listen.
Chappie learns from all of his parents, mostly Ninja and Dion, and to see what he is able to assimilate into his soul and who he is very interesting.
I'm kind of playing his father figure in this, in a way, which is strange. It even feels strange saying it. Dion genuinely cares about this robot. You know, he genuinely wants it to do well. He wants it to succeed. He wants the world to see this thing succeed. I've put so much into this creation, and it's come alive under these dreadful circumstances.
That Holmes is a clever little robot right there.
That Holmes is a clever little robot right there.
Hey, this motherfucker talks ghetto, huh?
This fuck mother talks ghetto, huh?
And then that moment of like, hey, this thing wants to be like us. Let's let it be like us then. Yankee's like, oh yeah, we're gonna take him under our wing. And he's thinking, oh yeah, this is gonna work.
What's up, fuck mother? Oh shit.
Where did you learn that from? These guys?
Hey.
My character spent years of his life creating this robot just to be ruined, you know, by these guys. So that's massively heartbreaking.
I'll call the police on you, I swear, for mistreating him.
I mean, the word humane and human has always seemed like a gross joke to me. And Chappie, I think, behaves in a far more humane way than most of the characters in the film, yet he's not human.
Why you humans do this? Why are you all alive? No, Michael, you're gonna be okay.
Chappie is just an open spirit, and he's the shining light. He's actually the inspiring one of the film, and how, in many ways, like kids can in our own lives, remind us and show us possibly how far off the track we've gotten.